everybody, Jamie Pate here, and welcome to a little bit of a different video. I hope you'll hang out and watch how all this kind of unpacks, if you will. I'm going to call this in my studio, and it's just a little look at some things that are working for me right now. Whether I'm telling a story, whether I'm writing a story, whether I'm embellishing a story, planner, mini album, whatever, there's tools that need to be handy and available and work for you. So I'm doing that today. The first tool I want to talk about today is just super basic, and this doesn't necessarily have to be because you're a scrapbooker or a card maker. It could be because you write, and hopefully you all write at some point in your day. I was recently asked what pen I use, and I literally just recently picked up the ScrapbookCom journaling pen. It's a black pen. What I love about it so much is it's .03. That is such a nice, thin pen tip, and you can see this played out mostly in my planner. When I am journaling, that's what I'm using, is the ScrapbookCom journaling pen. And there's no journaling you can see right there, but you can see here. That's what is being utilized. I have lots of pen favorites. I love even just like a felt tip pen, just like your basic felt tip pen, like nothing fancy. I'm a super big fan of the Pilot G2. Also, let me look at that there, .38. So I in particular like a thinner pen point. I think you can get into smaller spaces, obviously, with that. I think you control your writing a little bit with that. And actually, I'm going to drop a link in the description below in case you have never taken Heidi Swap's handwritten class. That is such a great class to kind of prompt some practicing with different pen tips, finding your style in writing, finding your style in your pen. And gosh, as I'm talking about it, I might even just go and just go practice again. It's a great class to go back and practice. So this is one of 5 items I wanted to share with you today. Just the basic practicality of a good pen. So not only do these come in a pack of 3, but they are only $8.99 for 3, which is just a kind of a real middle of the ground kind of price for pens. If you ever go and take a look at pens, highlighters, sketching pens or whatever, they can be on the pricey side. So I think $8.99 is a great deal. And if you play your cards right at ScrapbookCom, they almost always have some kind of freebie. So get a pen and get a freebie and have a good day. Okay, let me share the next thing that's on in my studio right now. Okay, friends, if you hang out here on this channel, even for a little bit, you know I'm a fan of the dies. I love die cuts in all kinds of different shapes, numbers, alphas, flowers, tags. Dies are the tool that you can use over and over again. Different papers, different seasons. I have a lot of content on here that's unpacking what I love about dies. So I invite you to look at those. I'll actually drop in the link my favorite video with one of my favorite dies. But let me talk about this one today because I've actually had this bold number with flowers for a little while now, and it took me a minute to take it out of the package. And you can see it's a good size here. We're talking, this is a 2.5 inch high number. And I have been using these recently in my weekly stories, and I'm actually going to show you an example of that as well. So what's so great about this die? Okay, well, number 1, numbers. We always are needing numbers. Number 2, I already shared with you, they're 2.5 inches tall. Number 3, like I already mentioned before, you can use these over and over again. And plus this set includes these 3 sweet little flowers, a leaf, and a stem. So bonus. Okay, what's another reason we love this particular set? Well, not only, and this is for week 52, that's why I have this, not only does it cut out a nice, beautiful, bold number, thus the name, but there's a little bonus to that. It also cuts out this outline. So you could go back and put it over another color, which actually this is 2 different colors. So you can kind of see there how that looks. But I'm a fan of this outline. And let me show you one way I have used it so far and that I adore so much. So I like to put the week on my weekly page spread. This was the last week of 2022. And of course it was week 52. And for this, and I'm probably going to use this for a little while now, for this particular week, I use the outline to the bold dies. And I'm a fan. I love how they turned out. I just added a little bit of glue here. And I'm trying to think, there might be glue underneath here where you can't see it. So then you get that the thing that I love so much, that whole floaty vibe, right? And then I just layered some other dies, speaking of dies, on top of it, which I'm not getting into that right now. I just wanted to really point out and share with you what I think is going to be a real important die set for numbers, and that's the bold number with the flowers. So check out the link below, and let me show you the next thing in my studio. All right, the next 3 things that are in my studio right now are actually very interrelated, which is kind of how things go here. I really like to have things on my desk in my studio that I'm using. They interact with each other. There's something I'm going to grab again and again. It also makes my head go towards the need to kind of declutter and move out the things that aren't working. That might be a post for another time. I don't know. But let me just talk about each of these 3 items here for a moment. And then I'm going to wrap this thing up with a sort of process video at the end. So ScrapbookCom, as I am recording this particular stamp and die set are not quite in the shop. They are coming very, very soon. You've seen me actually allude to this set already with this particular make. This is a good size tag that I made for the new Sizzix release when they release these brush stroke flower minis, plus there's some abstract elements that are part of this cluster here. This particular gratitude here is actually a rather large stamp, but I just used the top portion of it. I will link that video below as well, so you can see how I use that. I actually used one of my other studio items for this, but this is a rather good size stamp set that has everything. And you know me, again, if you're a follower, especially on Instagram, I am a soapboxer about gratitude because I am most especially speaking on this subject to my own self and constantly reminding myself to be thankful and grateful for that which is right in front of me. Kind of like the stamp set right here. So you can see you have a couple of flowers that come with this set. This Today My Heart is Grateful For, and that is very open-ended obviously, but then you have this line, like a little small journaling line that you could use along with this particular stamp. And then this Grateful For You is, I love them. I'm always a fan of mixed fonts. And you've got mixed fonts throughout this whole set. All good things come from gratitude. That is very true. Gratitude, it changes everything. So grateful for so much. This large grateful is, I'm seeing that on a tag. I'm seeing that as a title on a scrapbook page. Then you have a grateful heart is a magnet for miracles. That is so very true. And then I already showed you the big gratitude, which is it was actually a definition because you have noun here, and then remember it's not happiness brings us gratitude, but gratitude that brings us happiness. So it's a sort of a definition, kind of a stamp. But then the bonus part about this is that you have these 2 heart dies. Well, actually you don't have to. You have 1 heart die. This particular heart die is attached to this die that also embosses grateful at the bottom. Then you have the 2 floral stamps, or dies rather, that go with this stamp. You have this big G that's super fun. And then this fits the, I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see this. This fits the gratitude here. Is that one? No, I'm sorry, it fits the grateful. I should really study up on this before I do this. Anyway, that fits the grateful. And so we'll come back to this here at the very end. What I wanted to do real quick, I am also a big fan of keeping things organized and nice. Now, one of the things I've done, I don't have it here, I typically just keep my my stamps and their dies or whatever, especially the stamps, inside the sleeve that it comes in, but they always rip on me because it's just really thin cellophane. So I grabbed these cargo sleeves from Brutus and Monroe. They are 25 stamp cargo sleeves. These measure 6.125 by 8.25. So they fit these larger stamp sets from ScrapbookCom, and oops, I have a little rogue die set. He's supposed to be sitting here on the other side. So that's what I do with these sets, is I keep the stamps on one side, you flip it over, and then you have all the dies. Now, what's not going to work really well in this particular situation is that in particular, this set here, the sleeve is smaller than the packaging. And because I like to keep the backer, what I'm going to do in this instance, and what I normally do, is I give it some margin over here. I just mark where I'm going to trim this off, trim off that part of the backer. And same with the height. I don't necessarily need the bottom edge of this. And to their credit, ScrapbookCom puts the name of the stamp set. Can you see that? There you go. Puts the name of the stamp set on the packaging, which I love that. But I still like to keep the backer. I still like to be able to have that organized. So I'm going to go trim this out on my trimmer, which will also require me to do a little bit of trimming on the plastic as well. Okay, so I trimmed down the backer and the holder of the stamps. See if I can get them to fit back in here now. I'm in a small fight. Oh, it's fine. So that goes in there in the front. And I like these to be on the front because I just get a better idea of what I'm actually working with. I have the name up there. I have also my holder for the stamps also has the name of the stamp set. And then because this is a set, I like to have the dies just sitting here in the back. And that I can just grab and go and work and make the things look beautiful. Last thing I'm going to talk about today as far as things in my studio is this brand new Misty stamp platform. This is the black one that they just came out with, and I have used a platform for a little while now, and I am a fan. Now, I don't use a platform all the time, but I do use it pretty regularly. It's just the perfectionist in me that kind of sneaks out every once in a while. And so Precision Stamp Platform is like a perfect name because it's not about perfection, it's about precision, right? I mean, because there's a huge difference between perfection and precision. Are you with me? Okay. Anyway, we'll just move on from there. What I'm going to do now. So what is so great about this is it sits on my desk. I have a larger one from Sizzix, which I use pretty often as well. But this was like my desktop one. And my workspace here, you can't really see the whole thing, is a relatively small workspace. So I love that this just fits right here. I like that it's black. That's just me. I like my tools to have some cohesiveness to them. I like to pick lots of white or black tools. So that was something that was a selling point to me. That's kind of really it. While there's a lot of other features, that's what's really important to me, is that it works really nice. It's compact and I like the color. It's got a great magnet, but I also use the mint tape often to keep things where they need to be. So you have seen me use this before, and I'm going to use it again today as we just wrap up this video.